Hey, what's up guys, John here. McDonald's is now charging $18 for a Big Mac combo meal.
How much did you pay for a Big Mac? $18 for a Big Mac combo meal.
$18. And I believe very soon a family of four will go through a McDonald's drive-thru. They'll get 4 combo meals, an apple pie, and maybe a sundae and spend $125. That's the new normal. If you look at the fall of Venezuela, what actually happened to that country?
On paper, this is a rich country, yet its people are forced to shuffle along in lines for toilet paper.
The International Monetary Fund projects the country's inflation rate will rise to an incomprehensible 1,000,000%.
Each day at dusk, the unemployed converge on this sidewalk trash heap in downtown Caracas, picking through rotten fruit and vegetables tossed out by nearby shops.
On the outskirts of a popular market, Freddy Beleño picks up the remains of food that others have thrown out.
I wait until the afternoon for the stores to throw out their trash, and I'll take out things like onions or pieces of banana.
And you look at what's happening here, the trends are unbelievable. We're walking into what I believe is going to be a very big problem, one of the biggest problems America's ever seen, coming very soon. You need to prepare for it. I'm going to show you what's going on, so you'll see exactly what I see. Please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube will share this content to educate the people about what's really going on. And if you'd like to fix your credit to position yourself for the greatest wealth transfer of all time, we'd love to help you at GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description below this video to schedule a free strategy session. Venezuela was once the richest country in Latin America, has more oil reserves today than any other country in the world, and had a government in which everyone praised worldwide. So what happened? Now today, Venezuela has one of the highest inflation rates and crime that's surpassing nearly every other country. And it happened virtually overnight. Their GDP and the country's production as a whole fell overnight when Maduro was elected. Now, who is Maduro? Maduro is the president, and the president became elected in 2015. 2 years after he was elected, a coalition of opposing parties tried to oust him as president. This group was called the Democratic Unity Roundtable, and they won by 2/3 majority. This put Maduro's rule at risk, but what he did in response to this shocked the world. He immediately removed several support justices, and then he filled those places with cronies loyal to him. The citizens of Venezuela formed a massive protest, and the ruling was quickly reversed. But at that point, the damage was already done, and Venezuela will never be the same. Despite the public outcry, Maduro held a public vote to form a National Constituent Assembly to reform the government. This would give Maduro the power to rewrite Venezuela's constitution, and with it, remove the National Assembly, and remove virtually all opposition from any future rules from Maduro. With Maduro's recent rule, Venezuelans simply had no authority whether this entity should exist, only the authority to vote on the members in which who exist. But how did this all happen? Well, before Maduro, Hugo Chavez was president. He blamed corruption and the elite for ruining the lives of Venezuelans. Immediately after taking office, Hugo Chavez saw oil prices skyrocket, and these prices allowed funding for social programs and the economy. This lifted many from the poor into the middle class, and the quality of life skyrocketed. Venezuelans were never happier. Unfortunately, that came to an abrupt end when he died, and Maduro took office only 30 days later. Shortly thereafter, oil prices plummeted, and there was no funding left for social services, welfare programs, and the middle class tragically collapsed. Then Venezuela began massive money printing. Venezuelans' quality of life plummeted. Food and basic medicines were practically unattainable. 9 out of 10 Venezuelans fell into poverty. Corruption grew ever more. As this began to happen, Maduro and his allies were able to cash in their local currency 10-1, whereas everyone else in Venezuela was forced to trade their currencies in on the black market, getting 30,000-1. So ultimately, if you are not at the top, if you are not an elected leader, or you're not one of the elite, you have to trade your currencies in on the black market forcing you into poverty. And these leaders, the elite, took great advantage of this. They were able to sell food, services, and sell all items through the black market at a 10-to-1 and then selling it at a 30,000-to-1. Now let's look at what's happened here in America. We were recently energy independent. We were producing our own furniture, items, everything was built and made here in America. It was so good that people from all over the world wanted to come to the land of opportunity. They would come from the Philippines and Mexico and all other countries in the world, and they all came here to give themselves and their family a better life. Now Americans cannot afford to live here in America, and many people are forced to relocate to other countries due to the high cost of living. Over the last 3 years, the money printer was turned on, and we printed nearly half of all of our US dollars in circulation since 1776 over just the last 3 years. We are stepping away from fossil fuels and in return moving into clean energy. And what this looks like right now is a massive push to close down all oil refineries and gas leases. We are further moving to issue sanctions on other countries such as Russia, Venezuela, the UAE, and many others. Our energy prices, our food prices, our cost of living is all going through the roof, yet real wages are falling, the middle class is falling into the poor, and the rich are getting ever richer. The general public is being pushed off of a financial cliff, and things only look like they are going to get worse. In the last couple of years, the main conversation had was around inequality and equity. And with that, since 2021, we've had 11 pilot programs for a universal basic income. Unfortunately, that number has now grown to 82 cities in America, when 29 states are now pushing forward a universal basic income. Now, many people may think that is a great thing. They may look at this and say, we need more money, we need to be able to survive. But what many people do not realize is this will likely be funded through taxpayer revenue and more money printing. As this begins to happen, you will see things and policies very similar to what we're seeing in California, where they are demanding minimum wage for fast food workers go to $20 per hour. And you have McDonald's and Chipotle and many other companies pushing forward to move into robotics and technology to put themselves in a stronger position so that they do not have to compensate this problem of high wage demand due to poor policies being enacted through our elected leaders. If you look at things very clearly, you will see that this is the greatest power move in American history. Because as they demand for wages to continue to increase and the push for automation continues to ensue, the American people will demand a solution. And that solution will be more universal basic income, more government assistance. And at that point in time, when you have the majority demanding financial assistance, the majority becomes owned by the state. And that's what we're moving into right now. We are walking into an era where America as the whole, as we've ever known, is being changed forever. And there's nothing that any of us can do about it except look at things clearly to make smart decisions based on what's really happening. This is what's happening. The middle class is being very much destroyed, very similar to what's happened in Venezuela. Over the next couple of years, I believe if you make smart decisions today, you'll be able to avoid what many people won't be able to, which is the fall of America and the fall of the middle class. One way in which you can avoid this situation is you look around, you're seeing inflation, 10, 15, 20, 30%, some would say. They report 3.7%, so whichever number you feel is accurate. But when you're looking at real inflation, you're looking at what retail credit card interest rates are, which is near 30%. What you're going to see here is if you're making minimum payments on these credit cards, the odds of getting out of the hole is basically zero. You want to reduce your expenses as much as possible. One way could be moving in with your parents. Another way could be moving in with a family member or bringing in a roommate. But bring your expenses down, get out of credit card debt. Put yourself in a position to get a great credit score. Put yourself in a position to where you can get access to money so you can invest in your business. You can buy real estate. You can do something to put yourself in a moat of safety, because that's what everyone's going to need, a moat of safety, because the American dollar is in very, very, very big trouble. Many countries around the world are looking at America, looking at the decisions that we're making, look at the sanctions that we're issuing, looking at the weaponization that we've done with our currency, and all of the problems that we're walking into, and they don't want any part of it. So we're going to be walking into an uphill battle in this country, and the smart, the savvy, the prepared, they're getting ready for it. I believe over the next year, 2 years, it's going to be the most important in American history. If you're looking to get rich, the time to do it is now. If you'd like to fix your credit to position yourself for what I believe is the greatest wealth transfer of all time, we'd love to give you a free strategy session at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com to schedule a free strategy session. One late payment can drop your credit score a whopping 180 points. On average, it's somewhere between 80 to 100 points. So if you're looking at the world right now and you're seeing the same problems that I'm seeing, you want to put yourself in the strongest position possible. And one late payment will stay in your credit report for 7 years. So don't let this happen to you. Don't let one or a couple items get in the way of a otherwise bright future. Go to GreatCreditFast.com, click the link in the description to schedule a free strategy session.